once again to the Credit Bank Small Business Spotlight. As some of you already know, on this channel, we love to put the spotlight on inspiring business owners. A lot of information you're going to glean from this episode, a lot of things to learn, and maybe get some enthusiasm going in your own pursuits. We're going to learn their stories. They're going to share what drives their success. This episode is sponsored by Credit Bank, where you can get up to $500,000 in working capital with monthly payments quicker than quick. I'm your host, Irv Cruz, and today I am joined by Scott Campbell. Scott is the founder of Love in My Tummy Foods, LLC. This is a company that's dedicated to creating culinary quality plant-based desserts under the Good Pud brand, designed for people with dietary restrictions and those pursuing healthy lifestyles. Scott, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Irv. I'm grateful to be here.
Awesome.
An opportunity to talk to more people about what I'm doing and who it's helping.
Yeah, and take us back to the beginning, Scott. What inspired you to start Love in My Tummy Foods and focus on desserts with for dietary restrictions?
Well, my grandfather died at 51, my dad at 45, my brother at 41 from heart attacks.
Ooh,
and
okay.
I found myself in a hospital with a triple bypass at 47 in 2012. And then in 2017, they found nodules on my thyroid, and my naturopath started me eating anti-inflammatory. And that meant the candy, cakes, cookies, sugar had to leave the kitchen.
Right.
Not that I'm perfect. I work farmers markets. There's some amazing food at the farmers markets, but I can't have it at home. So one night I'm desperate for a chocolate fix, and the only thing that I've got is some cocoa powder, and I needed a way to eat it. And all I could come up with was some leftover sweet potato and the blender, and it made this really good pudding. What I would call it. And I started, a little niche here, a little touch there. Friends would come over and I'd give it to them. Check this out. And they're like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing. Those with diabetes, no blood sugar spikes. Those with food allergies, no allergic reactions. It's like, And at their insistence, I formed Love in My Tummy Foods in September 2020. And that's when the pandemic hit. But it gave me time in the kitchen to play with formulations, different ingredients, different sugars, sweeteners, looking for the right thing that would be, I pack a little extra on. I'm not diabetic, but I am insulin resistant.
Right.
And so I do my best to stay away from sugar and sweets. And so, one of the requirements was to find a sweetener that was edible taste-wise, digestible, that wouldn't rip you apart like sugar alcohol when you eat it, and didn't spike blood sugar like, maple sugar I tried, date sugar I tried, not happening, and stay in that low glycemic spike range. But I stumbled on this stuff allulose when I was looking for a sugar-free vegan caramel sauce. And this guy in the recipe on the internet was using this stuff allulose, and it browns like sugar. Well, it's because it is a sugar. But it has no aftertaste, 70% the sweetness of sugar. Again, browns like sugar, looks, tastes, and bakes like sugar. It was perfect. Zero glycemic index. It's totally keto friendly, totally diabetic friendly. They're finding it has gut biome restructuring properties. They're finding that it's got some cardiac heart benefit to it. It's probably got some cancer preventatives to it. It's a phenomenal sugar, and it comes mainly from jackfruit, figs, and raisins. On the grand scale, it comes from beets and corn. But don't ask me the exact process. You can go to allulose.org, and they'll tell you exactly how this is done and what the benefits are and all of the clinical research and anything you want to know. But it was perfect, and it worked perfect in the pudding. And so I started using that. I brought it to market on St. Patrick's Day of 2022. And it's been a hit ever since. And it's evolved from pudding to ice cream that you can eat like pudding. Since I sell it all frozen, it's in the grocery store frozen. I ship it all frozen. But it's helping diabetics. It's helping people with digestive disease, eat people with infants to seniors with food allergies. The American Cancer Society invited me to the Making Strides for Breast Cancer Awareness Walk last October because of the ingredients and the taste of it that they got from one of the farmers markets. I didn't even know they were there. And then I met Miss Oregon, 2024 Miss Oregon, Abigail Hupp there, and she's type 1 diabetic and just can't get enough of my raspberry truffle flavor. And so it's taking off. And the whole purpose of me starting the company was that if I have these problems with fine and sweets that I can eat, then other people must be having these problems as well, because I look. And what I've created tastes like nothing anybody's ever tried that was okay for virtually any diet restriction. And people are like grateful that somebody's finally recognized them. I have moms crying at the farmers market because their little infants are eating something that they can eat for the first time in forever, and they're acting like they're starving. And dads watching their kids dance around with spoonfuls in their mouth. And people that are lactose intolerant, they had to quit eating ice cream or have never eaten ice cream, are eating ice cream again, though it's non-dairy. It's dairy, egg, soy, nut, oil, gum, chemical, gluten-free, no added sugar, made from organic sweet potato, and culinary quality ingredients. And that's the whole point. There's no reason why we can't eat real, clean, good food instead of the crap that's on the shelf that's full of oils and other sugars, and it tastes fake and it's not real. This is real food. There's 4 ingredients in chocolate fudge flavor.
So when you made your first pudding, okay, you described you put a couple of ingredients into the blender and you came out with a pudding-like substance. Did you already have, let's call it, like a culinary background? Did you already know which ingredients you may want to explore to develop your puddings? Or is this something that happened as a result after you made that batch in that blender to satisfy your sweet tooth?
The latter. I don't have a culinary background except in the kitchen. And I come from the high-tech world, the semiconductor manufacturing automation world, solar thermal world. And I've been tech writing at Xerox, or had been tech writing at Xerox for the last 10 years. This was not on my radar. I had no intention of creating some kind of a healthy snack company whatsoever. I was just trying to cure a chocolate craving.
Right.
I'm serious. And, but, I've lived and worked in 16 countries around the world. And one of my meditative pastimes is coming home and trying to recreate the food that I eat there. Right.
Right.
So the adventurism I have with spices and playing with food in the kitchen, it's kind of, and the engineer background I have, kind of, I guess, made me play in the kitchen. And that's what I meant by it. When the pandemic hit, it gave me time to play in the kitchen because I couldn't go anywhere and I couldn't sell it anywhere, and all of the farmers markets were closed, and
Right.
ingredients were hell to find, and containers were virtually impossible to find. And so I had a lot of time in the kitchen to test different kinds of sweeteners and test with different kinds of cocos and cacaos, and just play until I found what I liked, the flavor that I liked.
Right.
And then feeding it to friends, I got a little feedback there. And there's been some formulation changes over the years to try to get it more palatable to a broader range of people. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of new, technologies, products, etc., are born of a scenario that you just described. You had a desire for something and got your, you went out and explored and said, okay, this might work, but then you get that idea in your head, like, hey, wait a minute, I can actually turn this into something. I can turn this into a business.
Right. Isn't that what invention's about? It's about creating something that you need because you can't get it.
Right, right,
Right. And so I think we all have an inventor capability. We just need to you need to how do I put this? You need to have the guts, determination, the will, the reach of a higher purpose, whatever it is for you, to take that inventive capacity and turn it into an entrepreneurial um, direction. And when you're doing something that helps other people, for me anyway, I get more joy out of this. This is more fun. This isn't work than anything I've ever done. This is nothing like working for someone and the stress of working for someone and making them happy and the people pleasing that comes out of it and the
right.
beating that you take from, superiors and yeah, I mean, it's the pressure of being a mid or upper level executive in a job that you really don't want to be doing is ridiculously tough. And when you're doing this for yourself, the pressure is all self-induced. The only one you have to blame for the pressures is you, right? So it takes
Yeah.
all the resentment away of all the work you're having to do. It's totally different. This is the coolest thing in the world.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the business in and of itself. What challenges did you face initially uh, when you launched Good Food, and equally as important, how did you overcome those challenges?
Oh man, challenges in which freaking direction? There were challenges in finances, getting it started. I put myself into massive debt and credit card debt. I think I had roughly $20,000 in the bank. I was working full time, and it's quickly you'll use up $20,000 just in ingredients and playing in the kitchen.
I would assume so.
And
Yeah.
so um, uh, expenses went on credit cards, taxes get filed, you take the money you get back from the government and you put it on the credit card bills and you keep going at it. And you live a tight budget and you don't buy any luxury items, and all of the money you can spare from your everyday expenses from your paycheck goes to your company. And it's just life. If you want it bad enough, the sacrifices aren't sacrifices, they're just requirements to do what you're doing. But then there was, I couldn't make it at home because I got a septic tank and a well, and the cost for that to get third party inspected, for the county to even look at it, and if they said yes, then the cost for the certificates, much less if I had to update the septic or had to update the filtration on the well, it was just out of the question, and it would change the county status from residential to commercial property. So the taxes would change. Now I got to find a commercial kitchen, commissary kitchen. And that can be a challenge because there's so many of us trying to make food and drink and just so many commissary kitchens. So it took a little time to find that. And then there was packaging and the right packaging. And at the time, the right packaging was the affordable packaging that I could get, thanks to all of the ships from China sitting out in the ocean off the West Coast that weren't in port. So there wasn't anything to get, right? So that was a challenge in labeling and trying to figure out a brand name and trying to figure out brand color and a logo design. And I've done all of this on my own. So, and it's not been out of my ego. I'm doing it all myself. It's been financial driven,
Right.
right? If I can do it, I'm going to do it so that I don't have to pay someone to do it. But as things get bigger, as we talked about a little bit pre-podcast, where I'm to a point where I'm not able to do it all by myself. So I need capital. I'm looking for investment capital right now in order to grow and scale and keep up with the demand because it's high.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. So you do have, you mentioned you had to redo your website, but how long has your website been up, and has it been instrumental in driving more customers to your business?
Oh man, that's another challenge. It's one thing to be able to create a website. It's another one to be able to create a successful e-commerce website. I don't know jack about driving people, funneling customers, and converting sales, right? And so that's one of the challenges that I got to find somebody to help me figure that out. Somebody inexpensive and effective. And here's another challenge in that is I bet I get 50 to 75 emails a day of people saying, hey, I've looked at your website, your SEO sucks, I can get you on the first page, let me send you a quote. Right. And right? So I'm sure some of those people are valid. Others, and I don't have money to throw away. I don't have $500 to throw away at somebody to fix the SEO on my landing page, right? So there's that aspect. It's filtering out who you can trust to do what you need to do, and that's where I rely on the network of people that I've got in the food and beverage network.
Yeah, it's a process. It's certainly a process to make sure you assemble the right team, as far as, building your infrastructure out a little bit more, as far as all these other, things like the labeling, et cetera, and SEO. It's certainly a process. So,
yeah. Well, it's like for you, Irv, it's like you're doing this podcast, but you need the guy in the background who's doing all of the monitoring and doing the filming to cut it up and clean it up and put it together in order to post it out there on the web. You may be able to do that, but this guy can do it 5 times faster and probably a little cleaner than you can, right?
And a lot better.
So that's my point to the website thing. It's one thing for me to be able to build it. I struggled for 3 months to get Shopify even able to take a sale correctly and create a shipping label correctly. But I finally got it, and it went live, I think I want to say July last year, it went live. Okay. And I had somebody help me create the landing page and I would say the theme. I had somebody help me create the theme. But then the rest of after that landing page and the rest of it, basically, it was all my struggling through it, learning by doing. That's what all of this has been from start to finish. Like
trial by fire a little bit, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. Learn from failure.
Yeah. So how does, you mentioned a background in semiconductor manufacturing and technical documentation. How did your experience in that field influence your approach to running a food business?
Honestly, I don't think it did. They're two different animals. This is nothing. Running a food business is nothing like being an employee for someone in a high-tech arena or any other arena, I would imagine. I never had to deal with the Oregon Department of Agriculture, getting certifications, getting safety certified in the kitchen, to even use the kitchen, to use shelving in the shop here for storage of boxes and dry goods and things. And I've got a 22 cubic foot freezer I keep individual cups in for the farmers markets and shipping stuff out off of the website here. And that had to get certified by the Oregon Department of Ag for me to put a cup in it. All of the food handling stuff and the hoops to jump through with the farmers markets and the things that they want. I mean, there's no comparing what I did. I've even got an MBA in technology management. It didn't prepare me for this. This has been a learn by doing, win from failure, keep at it, being tenacious. And again,
right. And sticking to your why too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the driving force right there, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the driving force is the customers.
So how do you see plant-based dessert making evolving in the next few years?
Well, thanks to some doctors prior to RFK Jr., whether you like him or not, I'm not taking his politics. I'm only saying that this guy is trying to change the face of the food industry in America. and we need it bad. When 60% of this country, and I see it every week at the farmers markets, is sick from chronic disease, that's no joke. That number is probably being really conservative. Imagine it's higher than that from what I see at the markets, between the infants, the preteens, the teens, the young adults, all the way up to seniors that have food allergies, diabetes, type 1, type 2, digestive diseases, cancer, they're on chemo. I could just sit here and rattle a list off. Me having thyroid disease and heart disease.
Right.
These people they're becoming the majority quickly. And the garbage that's been on our food that's making us sick all of these years, my like I said, my grandfather died at 51, my dad at 41, and my brother at 40, or my dad at 45, my brother at 41. And you can see generationally, even though that's over probably a 70-year span or longer, you can see generationally the length of life shortening. And that's because of, I believe, from my own experience with food, the crap food that we've been eating shortening our lifespan over time. And for my family, it's only heart disease really that's been the culprit to the death rate. But I see plant-based food becoming more and more popular. I see the highly processed plant-based food becoming less popular, like meat substitutes. Man, I have yet to see a truly good meat substitute that wasn't just highly processed vegetables. And just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy.
Right. There's a
Vegan
misconception
is
out
an
there.
ideal, right? Yeah, it's an ideal. You need to read labels. I'm not saying all vegan's bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you need to read labels, because vegan, just like non-vegan food, can be just as harmful. Food's either medicine or it's poison. That's where we're at with food today.
Yeah. I mean, I personally have tried to get into the habit of reading labels and just kind of picking and choosing what I want to put into my body. And I think that's, it's certainly, I mean, it's probably an understatement to say it's a growing trend, because people are getting more health conscious, and even when it comes to, satisfying their sweet tooth, they want to know that, they're able to do that, but they're putting good stuff into their body as well. And I think that's
Right.
where you're, kind of, I guess it's safe to say maybe blazing a trail, in that space.
I'm trying to open a door. The people that can't eat sugar, the people that can't eat gluten, the people that can't eat dairy, more and more people can't eat soy. The nut, the people that can't eat nuts, it's growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And there's virtually no one out there that I've found yet in my competitive research, that's doing something that is basically allergen free. Unless you're allergic to sweet potatoes or one of the other ingredients that make up the flavors,
Right.
there's nothing in good food that is an allergen. None of it. And that's probably a first.
Yeah.
And to eat it, you wouldn't know it. I mean, unless you're just a sugar junkie,
Yeah.
which some people are. I used to be. You wouldn't know that it's this hyper healthy food. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Would it be too corny if I said, well, the proof is in the pudding?
No, go. You're allowed. Yeah.
Scott,
The proof is
so
in the pudding.
what is next for loving my tummy foods and good foods in terms of new products or markets?
New product? I don't. I've got an instant pudding in mind that I'm trying to get patented right now, using good pud as the base. And I'm not going to. I can't go into the process of how it all happens, but it would be powdered and reconstitutable with water. In my thought is it'll come in a like a tub that smoothie powders come in, or it would come in a resealable spout pouch that mom can just open, pour water in it, seal it up, the Ziploc, squeeze it, hand it to her kid, and they squirt it in their mouth, just like baby food or other, snacks. And the thought for that with disaster relief, because now you're handing somebody with a massive 19 vitamins and minerals in it, 6 grams of fiber in chocolate pudding. And there's not that much fiber in most any fiber supplement like Metamucil. Like fiber supplements like Mycelium Husk. Didn't mean to give them a plug. I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
But Mycelium Husk and things like that, there's 3 to 5 grams of fiber in it. Good Put's got 6, and it's an ice cream, right? It's menopausal supportive. Sweet potatoes, one of the highest forms of natural menopause support out there because of the amount of phytoestrogens and vitamin A that's in it. So markets, right now I'm going after hospitals. One of my biggest goals this year is to get it into the Portland area children's hospitals. When I had my triple bypass, they fed me snack pack pudding, which is virtually nutritionless. 22 grams of sugar, of added sugar, and it's just chemicals basically mixed with water, right in the heart ICU.
Wow, how ironic! So when you see those snack packs that they got them in big letters, sugar free, it may be sugar free, but it's not allergen free, and
no, it's got milk, it's got powdered milk in it. It's got palm oil in it. It's got erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol, which is massively destructive to the digestive tract. They're even now showing some cancer-causing properties that are highly probable to it. There's a number of still. The only difference between the sugar-free and what they fed me in the hospital was they took out the 22 grams of added sugar and they put erythritol in it.
Makes me want to go to my fridge and check. It makes me want to go to my fridge and check what kind of pudding cups I have there and just toss them after hearing that. So my last question, Scott.
Sure.
If you had the perfect resources and support, whether it's financing, assembling a team that understands your culture and can attach to your why, if you had all of that in place, what would you change for Good Food and Love in My Tummy Foods tomorrow? What's the immediate change that would take you to that next level?
I'd hire me a kitchen staff and production staff.
Right. Essential.
And I'd hire some social media and marketing people. 99% of why I'm doing this is to help other people like me with dietary restrictions that are just looking to eat healthy. And the hardest part about this is getting people to try it. Coming to the market and getting spoonfuls is one thing. And we've been lied to and misled for so long by advertising about the food that we're eating that's supposed to be diabetic friendly and insulin friendly and, healthy, that people are like, they see on my booth, I got dairy free, egg free, soy free, nut free, no added sugar, gluten free. And they're just standing there like, deer in the headlights. And when I call them over, they're like, what is this? If it doesn't have all of this in it, what's in it?
Yeah.
And they're just in disbelief that it's food, because we've been lied to and misled for so long that if it's not, you're hiding something. And I'm not hiding anything. And so getting the word out, which is what you're helping me do here, Irv and Credit Bank. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
That this stuff is for real. It's helping people for real. That I didn't plan this. It wasn't created as I'm going to make sweet potato ice cream. No, I need a chocolate fix.
Yeah, that's it. That's really what it was.
Yeah. And I had no plan on changing my career to doing this from, high tech stuff that I've been doing most all of my life and went to college to do. But there's a spiritual aspect of this for me that I can't stop. And that's being of service to others and sharing what I found
That's that
with
why.
others who are desperate to find snacks and sweets that they've been left behind. The mass market doesn't give a rat's ass about people with dietary restrictions. They've always been a smaller market space than the ones that don't have dietary restrictions. And if we don't give those with dietary restrictions things they should be eating, they're going to eat this anyway because they're human beings and they're addicts to some extent. All of us are to some extent, especially when it comes to sugar and sweets.
Yeah,
and they're going to eat it anyway, despite knowing that it's going to hurt them. And that's what they're doing. Isn't it crazy?
I think you've got something special there. Personally, I think it's going to help a lot of people. It's been absolutely fantastic you coming on and sharing with us, all about good food and the process of how it got, created. Can't thank you enough for that. For those that want to follow you, reach out to you, how would they do that?
Instagram, Facebook. There's the Good Food website. So down at the bottom, I think are links to Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And part of what I'm trying to do today is update my calendar so that it's correct. When you go out here, you can see where I'm at and what I'm doing. And I got to throw out there that the Oregon Entrepreneurs Network Angel Food Investment Fund program has moved 11 of my Tummy Foods to one of the 5 finalists in the Angel Food Investment Fund program, which the winner will receive a $100,000 investment. And that would be game changing in every way possible to making more of this stuff, getting more people aware of it, going to food shows like the Fancy Food Show and Expo West and Expo East, and getting more travel costs covered to hospitals. And I would love to see the West Coast covered in good food in the hospitals. These children, man, I tell you what, it's heartbreaking when a dad walks up with a 9-year-old little girl and she can't eat anything virtually, and we're trying spoonfuls of good food, and there's smile on her face, and dad's just in shock with his chin on the floor, can't believe she's freaking eating something. It's the coolest thing in the world.
Would you say that is your absolute proudest moment in this whole thing, in this whole venture?
Yeah, the joy that it brings to parents, the joy that it brings to the people with the dietary restrictions. I mean, these people are freaking desperate, Irv. I'm not kidding. They're desperate to find something sweet that they can eat. The humility and the humiliation and the desperation, and they sit down with their friends and family at dinner, and everybody's having apple pie or cheesecake or ice cream, and they can't.
Yeah, it takes the fun out of being a kid.
That's adults from infants to seniors.
Yeah.
This is across the board.
I'm thinking about it from a kid's perspective, and their
Well,
desire
yeah.
to want to have some sweets too.
Yeah.
But they can't. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lady, one of the vendors at the farmers markets I do over here in Oregon City, got a 12-pack of Thin Mint cookie from me because her daughter loves it, has some dietary restrictions, and her birthday was Sunday. So they had Thin Mint cookie for ice cream at the birthday party. It's that kind of thing that it's making a difference with. And she's on my Instagram. Her mom took a picture of her chowing down on some Thin Mint cookie ice cream at the market one day and sent me a picture of it, and I posted it. And it's just, yes, the kid thing is probably the most important joy creating thing for me in the world.
Yeah,
yes. And that's why it's so important for me to get this in the children's hospitals this year.
Fantastic. Yep. Well, Scott, thank you once again for joining us and sharing your story. I see great things for you in your future. I wish you all the success in the world. And to our listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode and was inspired in any way, be sure to subscribe and tune in for more inspiring business episodes. Until then, I'm your host, Irv Cruz. That's my man, Scott Campbell. We'll see you on the next Credit Bank Small Business
Thanks, Irv.
Spotlight. Pleasure.
Thanks, Credit Bank.
If you enjoyed this video, click here to watch another exciting episode.